Hey everyone, Ciara here this week for the Wellness Nugget. So, this week I thought I'd talk about something that I've been noticing in myself that I've been struggling a lot with, and some things that I've learned to help me manage my feelings around this topic I'm going to talk about. So, what I have been noticing is that when there's a lot of stress going on in my life, whether that be family, friends, work, school, anything like that, I have noticed for me, it's really hard to keep my living area. So, like my bedroom, my living room, my kitchen, my bathroom, it's really hard for me to keep those places clean and organized. So, for example, if you were all to walk into my living quarters right now, you'd be like, whoa, this is messy. And I've noticed that when I'm super stressed and there's a lot of other things going on, I tend to put off the tasks that I normally would do to help keep that space organized and clean. So, for example, right now, I am thinking about when I get home today, I always think about my kitchen. And I always think that no matter what I do, especially when there's stress going on, I'm laughing at this, but no matter what I do, there's always this huge pile of dishes in the sink. And I have the best intentions every time I go home to tackle that pile of dishes, to knock out every single dish in the sink, because that's my initial urge and my initial rule I built in my head is that if I'm going to do the dishes, I have to do all the dishes. And that's the only acceptable thing that I can do to get all those dishes done to feel like I did something. So I've been going home for a week now and looking at this pile of dishes, right? So this is after a day of work, after some classes, after doing some activities, after spending time with friends. I come home and I look at that sink and I instantly feel like, oh gosh, I feel this dread. Like, that's a lot of dishes, and that's going to take me a lot of time to do those things. And there are a million other things I have to do. Like, I have to make my lunch for tomorrow, I have to figure out what I'm going to wear to work tomorrow. There are a million other things I have to do that kind of override that desire to do dishes. And I feel really overwhelmed. So I'm like, okay, this will take me an hour, 30 minutes to an hour to do all these dishes. And then I feel really stressed. And then what happens 99% of the time is that I'm like, okay, well, that's too much for me to do right now. So I'm not going to do anything. And then I feel really bad about myself because I'm like, gosh, I know I have to do these things, but somehow my brain has this rule that if you're going to do the dishes, you got to do all of them. And that's the only acceptable way. So, what I'm trying to work on a little bit, and it's hard for me, um, is I'm starting to play with these rules that I've created for myself. So, going home today, I go home, I feel the same way. There's obviously dishes in the sink that I have to do. Instead of feeling that urge that or adhering to that rule that I have to get all the dishes done, I'm going to sit with that feeling of, okay, I feel overwhelmed looking at these dishes. And I'm going to start to shift into breaking that down a little bit. So instead of doing all the dishes at once, maybe I load the dishwasher and run a cycle, and that's enough. That's something different than I've done. And I know I have to get the dishes done, and having to accept that, okay, I loaded the dishwasher, I ran it once, and that's good enough because I have other things to do. And that's okay. And having some compassion with ourselves, saying, okay, yes, I know I have a million other things going on that probably override the dishes. And I know that if I don't do any dishes, I'm going to feel bad and nothing's going to change. So I'm going to sit with that discomfort first of feeling like, okay, I'm just going to do a load of dishes and I'm going to accept that is all I'm going to do. And that's okay because I'm a human and I have a million other things to do besides doing the dishes. So just something I've been trying out is really trying to break down those huge tasks that feel really overwhelming, trying to break them down into smaller, more manageable tasks and accepting that that's okay for me to do. I'm a human being. I have 10,000 other things, and accepting this small task of this larger task It's okay. So that's what I wanted to share for this week, something that I've been trying. Like I said, work in progress, but maybe we could all try it together and see how it goes. Well, thanks for tuning in, and then either myself or Dr. Bruder will see you all next week.
This is an informational video that is not intended to replace professional treatment for specific mental health problems or symptoms. If you're having thoughts about harming yourself or others, call your therapist or doctor right now. You can find contact information and call your nearest HSO location to schedule an appointment at www.healthsourceofohio.org/locations. You can also talk to someone now by calling the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255.